someone were to who is already experienced in the corporate world and they're looking to transition into the VC space, what are some ways or some things they could do to transition into that space? That's one. So maybe you can take these two questions together. What are some things they can do to transition into that space? And two, what are some other roles within venture capital that people can look into? And I know BKR is doing this fellowship program, so maybe you can all just tie it all together. I'm trying to manage
Yeah,
your time here.
yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So what can they do? So they're actually like courses because venture capital is quite. Should I use the word niche? Yeah, it's very possible for you to maybe even have like 30 years experience in banking and still not know like what's happening in the VC world. Even the language and the terms, like it's really possible. So, but there are courses like you have individuals who provide like Zach Bro. I hope I'm pronouncing his name well. But you have like Corporate Finance Institute here in Canada that touch bits and pieces on whether it's financial modeling, whether it's term sheets, legal due diligence. Like you have that, or there's Wall Street Mojo as well that has like courses that are relevant to the VC industry as well. So there are those courses. I think there's also like VC University Online or VC Online University, something like that, that teach so that you can it makes the transition easy. But in terms of transferable skills, your use of Excel, modeling is something that we can never do without in the VC world. Presentation, communication, always very key because it's all about finding deals, analyzing deals, investing in them, and then, reporting on them. Like that's like the entire phase. So for you to even be able to find deals, you have to go out. There has to be some form of networking, relationship building, communication. Yeah, all of that is required, right? And then for you to assess deals, the use of your PowerPoint, critical thinking, like research skills to be able to understand the industry and make analysis on competition, on risk, whatever that looks like, right? And then after you invest in them, reporting on them as well, still analyzing what their numbers look like, flagging risk or concerns or whatever that is. So yeah, in terms of skills, it's easily transferable. It's just the knowledge that might be slightly different, right? Exactly. Yeah. What else did you ask about?
So I
How
wanted
to
you to
train?
also talk about like BKR
The fellowship, right?
right?
Yeah, I will. I will. I just want to touch specifically too. So in terms of roles as well,
Yeah.
um, analysts, associates, their core roles, right? Analyst, associates, you can be a principal or a partner, right? But even in the VC like firm, you can be on the operational side or on the core deal side, right? Yeah. So operations, you can be an operations associate, just helping to manage because most times they're always very lean structures. They're always very lean most times, maybe 10 at the yeah, very small teams. So on the operational side, like touching on everything around HR, policies, even managing the portfolio, communications to the stakeholders, all that type of stuff. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So I feel like that's what it looks like. But beyond those roles, like anyone coming in with enough experience in a field or whatever can actually find entrance through, being an advisor, right? Or being like an entrepreneur in residence, which is so VCs try to create this support network so that if their portfolio companies need maybe mentorship, like, support, whatever that might look like, operationally or even just in terms of advice, right? So we try to create this whole network around having solid advisors who are probably experts in engineering or experts in marketing or experts in sales or experts in human resources. Like, you could anywhere where you have like field of expertise here, you could actually fit for an advisor. And advisors at times get like 1 to 2% stake in companies as well, right? Yeah. Or you could be like an outsourced service provider if it's something that you want to make as like a side business, right? So just offering like financial reporting or accounting skills, yeah, as support for the portfolio companies, basically. But tying all of this together, I mean, as BKR Capital, I'm not even sure. Have we even talked about BKR Capital at
No, we
all?
haven't. We haven't because you've been sharing so many interesting things, and I'm just gonna just step back now.
Interesting.
You wanted to tell us about BKR Capital in the first
Okay,
place.
okay. Yeah, so BKR Capital is the first Black-led institutional backed venture capital fund in Canada. And, it was really all born out of this gap that was identified in terms of funding, where, in the whole of North America, like less than 1% of VC funding goes to Black founders, right? And it was founded by Isaac Olo Lafair and Liz Breku Davi. And in Black, part of the Black community, they've been in Canada like for so long, and they've been in the VC industry. And so just identifying that gap and saying, you know what, something has to be done to really change the narrative, right? And so we created the whole investment thesis around that. So we invest only in Black-led companies, right? And I mean, I find it very interesting because the success of our company, so many things have been thrown out there, like, oh, but with diversity, like, companies, or perhaps without diversity, like companies are losing so much money and this and but nothing really out there to sort of like test all these statements. And so we coming out to say that only Black-led, like the performance of our company is going to be like a validating factor, or a validating data point for all of those type of statements. Exactly. So it's a really really critical critical position, but it's been interesting. So we started last year, and we currently have like 5 companies already in our portfolio, right? But I mean, beyond just investing only in Black founders, because yeah, the gap is beyond just finance or access to capital, right? But in ensuring that even at the C-suite levels in the industry, like you're not counting the Black people there, and that was why we created the fellowship program. So it's a venture capital. It's the BKR Venture Capital Fellowship Program, right? And it's like 9 months long, but really to give our fellows very strong both knowledge and experience in the VC world here in Canada. And so we started this year, and ran courses like from August. We're ending our classes, like the theoretical aspects, we're ending like next week or in 2 weeks. And then the second part of the program is all going to be like hands-on learning. So our fellows are going to be building models and doing these valuations. We've been taught all these things, right? So just putting them to use and then connecting with the industry. We had like the first event for the program a few weeks back in Toronto. So we had, we flew people in because we have some persons in Montreal, some persons here in Alberta, in Toronto, and so we flew everyone in and got like partners, founders of venture capital firms, leading ones here in Canada, and just to engage so that our fellows can engage, with the industries, connect with people. We had like breakfast with some Black-led companies as well, Black-led founders as well. And, interestingly, just from that short program, like 2 of our fellows will soon be advisors to some companies because we're targeting like mid-level professionals. So you already have like, good experience in whatever field it is, whether it's engineering, marketing, and you have something to really contribute. And so being able to create that platform and opportunity for you to connect with the industry as well as learn, what is required to succeed, whether as a fund manager, whether as an analyst, as an associate, whatever it is. So yeah. So basically, beyond funding, yeah, that's also something that we do, which speaks to how can people, sort of transit into this industry if they've had some form of experience before. And there are other programs like this actually. There's some by the Ivy Business School as well around venture capital. One of our fellows attended, I can't remember the name, but I know that CVCA, like Canadian Venture Capital Association, also has like a program for this as well. And in fact, they interestingly just
the program with BKRCAP, is it paid or free? Do fellows have to pay to participate?
No. Say it's free actually. Yeah, okay. That's a major difference because the other programs are paid, like they have to pay.
And
yeah, but this was entirely
is
free.
it okay for them to would they still be keeping their job, their full-time jobs while they are part of the
Oh
program?
yeah, absolutely. Like it's so the program is virtual and classes are like for 1 hour on sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week. That's why it was even 9 months long because we're considering the fact that people are working.
Right.
So classes hold after work, right? Yeah, so people still have, you still have your time.
And then what's the application process like for people who might be interested in the next cohort of that?
I mean, information will go out on that as we're planning for next year's, for the cohort next year, for the batch next year. But this year was the first. And so it was more like the test year. So there was no application this year actually. We just sort of worked with people within our network, like uh, pretty much how I met with you, exactly just connecting with that pool of Black professionals and those that were interested, we started off with them. But yeah, there'll be a lot of, more publications and announcements for the next batch.
How many fellows are currently in this cohort?
So currently we have